Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's Andrew Turner, founder and host of the G&T Sessions podcast. And today we have Mr. Justin Breen. How are you, Justin?
Wonderful. Grateful to be here, and you are 6 hours ahead of me, so I hope the future is great right now.
I'm just looking into my crystal ball as we speak. I'll let you know at the end of the episode. So where are you joining us from today?
The Chicago area.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks for coming on the show. And I know that we were talking on LinkedIn about when to come on, and you've got a busy schedule. So I appreciate the time you've given us this afternoon, my time anyway.
Right.
So I suppose for the people who don't know Mr. Justin Breen, is it just maybe you can give us a bit of a pen portrait as a quick intro, and we can jump straight into it then from there.
Sure. Again, grateful to be here. Lead a pretty simple life, either spending time with my family, my wife, and our 2 sons, or connecting visionaries to serve humanity. So created 2 companies based on that purpose. It's a lot of fun.
That's cool. So you got 2 sons, Jake and Chase, is that right?
Yeah.
And I like the dogs' names, by the way. I don't know.
You. I appreciate
it. There's probably some kind of story behind that.
Oh, with the dogs?
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, how it works in my family is so my wife's a pediatrician, and then the COO of BrEpic Network, which is the moonshot company that's scaling pretty quickly. So she's a pure stabilizer. So like she does 99.9% of the parenting, and then like children caretaker and then dog caretaker. We have 3 dogs now, and then I think the main part of my 0.1% of parenting is naming. So most of the time I get to have the final say in the name of the children or the dogs. So
cool.
Yeah, so Dr. Pepper, Toffee Kisses, and then our latest dog is Mr. Beans. Although my wife Sarah did have naming privileges for Mr. Beans. She said we could get a 3rd dog only if she had naming privileges, and I said,
All
deal.
right, okay.
Deal.
So that was the protocol. That's good. That's good to hear. Domestic bliss ahead.
Happy wife, happy life.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that around. No. So I mean, one of the reasons I wanted you to come on the show actually, because you've obviously been working on something. You've obviously got an interesting background. You kind of it looks like you've been in, I suppose, media historically, and then you've kind of released a couple of books, which I don't mind you give me a bit of a précis on that. But also, very interestingly, people talk about communities and networks and relationships and all those kind of the sharing of knowledge and wisdom. It sounds like that's a big growing part of what you're doing as well now. So maybe help people understand a bit more about that. Because I have the same kind of thought process as well. I run a couple of communities, and I think that the kind of the your it's that kind of classic of your net worth is your network. I presume you're bringing that into your kind of bringing that to the fore with the stuff you're doing there. So is that something you could explain a little bit about? If that's possible.
Yeah. Thank you for asking and giving me that background about how your brain thinks and what you're building, and then how you connect. So again, very simple life, either spending time with my family or connecting with world's top visionaries or people that will do whatever it takes to become world's top visionaries. So I don't understand human world, consultant world, business owner world. Like I've never understood that. It's confusing to me.
Okay.
And then most of the people I talk to, not all certainly, but most of them are ADD, ADHD, diagnosed or undiagnosed. It's not a disorder. Okay. It's a sign of genius mislabeled by humans, and then they just talk and talk and talk. And then my brain simplifies into patterns or habits or rituals. That's what my brain does. So Favorite pattern is right mindset attracts right network, which creates right opportunities. So right mindset, visionary abundance investment mindset attracts right network, other visionaries who live in abundance and who look at things only as investments, not costs. A true visionary would never look at anything as a cost, ever, never. And then that creates right opportunities. So my wife and I were just on Necker Island hanging out with Sir Richard Branson for several days. That was a great honor. And then I was fortunate enough to ring the NASDAQ bell a couple days ago at closing ceremonies, and I have no financial background. I don't really care about any of that stuff, but mindset.
It comes in threes, Justin. You see, the third thing is coming on the G&T Sessions podcast. Boom.
Right. Good way to bring it back. Well, everything's a pattern, and then so I just keep making bigger investments to be in smaller rooms, but the people in those rooms are making bigger impact. That allows me to spend biggest investment in my family, smallest room where I can make the most impact, and then you just create your own room, high price point, invite only connectivity platform, and that makes the most impact. So it's the same formula, and then when you know the pattern, then you just create your own pattern with it. And that's fun when you start to create your own patterns with that.
Interesting. And how do you, I mean, did you like have an epiphany moment, or what there was certain things that happened that triggered this kind of thought process?
Always I'm convinced you're either born top visionary or you're not. I'm convinced of that. If you are, then you can work on your mindset every day. And then my favorite quote is from Earl Nightingale. He's like the OG of motivational speakers. He was doing recordings in the early 1900s. But my favorite quote of his is, success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Success is progressive realization of a worthy ideal. And my worthy ideal in some form has always been connecting visionaries to serve humanity. It's just been progressively realized through time and then simplified.
And is that something that you basically just started to kind of approach and reach out to these people and kind of say we should bring these people together in a kind of a certain environment to actually foster that kind of collaboration? Is that the premise of it?
So you have so thank you for asking that. You have a tech engineering brain. I appreciate that. My brain isn't like that. I just do something and then I see what happens, and then the good things I keep doing them, and then the things where I talk to 1 to 2 visionaries every single week that have let entrepreneur life destroy their family life or prevented them from having a family. So I'm like, well, I'm not going to do that. I just put family first. Okay, so bad idea. And then you just connect visionaries with right mindset, and then all these great things happen. So you just keep doing that. But most of my life, again, everything's learning. Most of my life, I was talking like this, and no one had any idea what I was talking about. Because they're not visionaries. They're not like this. But you don't stop. You just keep doing it, and then you find that the only people that understand what you're talking about are top visionaries on planet, or ones that will do whatever it takes to become that.
Yeah, so you kind of like kept pushing on your mission, and then effectively it started opening up in front of you because you were kind of consistently going after that.
Never has. I mean, I'll turn the switch on. I'm going to relate to your engineering brain. So you can do that pretty fast. So when you go, I was a journalist for 20 years. Or I was an entrepreneur who happened to be a journalist. I didn't know that until starting entrepreneur journey. But when you go into journalism, you don't go into that for scaling companies or technology or employee count. That's not. It's to connect and share cool stories. I mean, and then I've never understood negative news or business owner stuff or politics or crime. I don't understand any of that stuff. I just wanted to write about cool people changing the world. And then through media, it was the media source would be able to connect them by publishing the article or putting it on social media. Now I just we do the same thing for the visionary. It's just not for the media source anymore. It's for the visionary.
Right. Because I mean, it's interesting because I mean, it's interesting you kind of put me in that tech engineering bubble. I mean, I have got a technical background, but I'm kind of, I suppose, a bit of a hybrid. So I'm kind of like quite creative as well. And
You're an entrepreneur who happens to be with tech engineering brain.
No. Yeah, correct. It's a bit of a kind of, I suppose, left brain, right brain kind of thing, isn't it? It's like how do you leverage both sides of it?
I just try to by answering your question by relating to your brain. And then right mindset attracts right network, creates right opportunities. And then so people like us are usually aliens within our own family, community, and verticals. The only people who understand us are top entrepreneurs on planet. And then lawyers who are lawyers, I don't talk to them. I don't talk to CPAs who are CPAs or tech people who are tech people. I don't even data people who are data people. I don't understand that. But a visionary who happens to run a tech company, a visionary who happens to run a financial company, a visionary who happens to run a giant law firm, a visionary who happens to run a huge healthcare company. Those are the people I connect and talk to.
Interesting. Yeah, because I think that's the thing. That's the thing I found with doing this show, because I've done over 100 episodes now. We're in series 4, and just the diversity of meeting different people like yourself and the guests. It really teases out those things that people sometimes haven't even spoken about before.
Correct.
It's about how do you create the right environment, that kind of intimate conversation, even though we're kind of off the internet. And then some people open up, some people don't open up. But actually, then I think it triggers and it just shows how interesting people are and how diverse their experiences.
That shows if they're a visionary. No. If someone's not opening up, they're not a visionary. No way. A visionary would gladly open. A true visionary is the most damaged person with the best coping skills. So the most damaged, most trauma, but they have the highest IQ, EQ. And then all this technology stuff is great, like we're meeting on Zoom or whatever platform, Riverside. But there are two things that will fundamentally never change. One is the power of real human relationships. It doesn't matter if we met on a platform or through Calendly or whatever, this is a real human relationship. And then two, the power of storytelling. So Bible, hieroglyphics, smoke signal, Constitution, the Magna Carta. It doesn't. So all this technology is great, but power storytelling and real human relationships, those will fundamentally never change. So that's all I look at technology or AI or whatever, longevity. It's just a way to have better real human relationships and better storytelling. That's all.
Yeah, what I find with some of the companies and kind of clients that I work with and the founders, they're technically very, very high IQ. But some of the biggest challenges they have is the EQ side.
They're their own biggest challenge. They're their own biggest challenge. So I can find it, but so I'm not a data person or like that. But what all I do is talk to people, or I don't talk to people. I talk to visionaries, and then I see the pattern. So simplified IQ. Simplified IQ. I'll try and find that. I'll put it in if I can find it. But and again, there's no data behind this, but it's data from talking to top people all day. So genius IQ is 140 and above. That's less than 1% of the population. Almost everyone I talk to is over 140. When you get over 150 and definitely over 160, it's really hard to be a human in any capacity. I know a 173 that is he has a human loving girlfriend, but he won't even go out in public with her. He won't do it because he can't pretend to be someone else.
Wow.
And then there are there are only two types of geniuses. The genius brain. Oh, I found the IQ thing. Hold on, I'll put it in the chat. But so there's the genius brain. This is the MIT, there we go. I'm putting this in the chat. The MIT, the Caltech, the whatever, whatever college, Oxford,
Stanford, brain, or whatever. Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah, Stanford. And then many of them don't have genius hearts, so they're like cyborgs.
Right.
Super high tech, but they have no social skills at all. Many are narcissists because they don't understand humanity in any capacity. And then there's the genius heart. So that's the hippie person playing guitar, small nonprofit, but they don't have a genius brain, so they can't mechanize it. So they're hippie on the street, which is fine. So it's when a true visionary to me is when you have both the genius heart with the genius brain. That's when you really see massive growth. And then all our companies are collectives of Genius Brain, Genius Hearts. No time for narcissists or cyborgs. It's only people that want to change humanity. No, because the cyborg, it's fine, but they're not going to understand the heart aspect of it. They're just not.
Yeah.
And they don't care either, which is fine. But true humanity has changed with a combination of Genius Brain and Genius Heart.
That's a fantastic, very eloquent way of describing it, actually. So thank you for doing that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I mean, I spent actually, last year, it was the year before actually, but I spent quite a bit of time with Stephen Kotler, who you probably know.
Of course. Yeah.
And before he released his latest book, the Enter the Gunnar, there was 40 of us on a 40-hour sprint with him. And my God, he's such a great guy. I mean, such entertaining and eclectic.
Eclectic.
Yeah, he's he admits he was a punk, and he gives us some great stories. But there's so much value that he shares. Obviously, I know I'm aware. Obviously, that's probably the circle of people that you are working with, or collaborating with, because obviously Peter Diamandis has done a lot of collaboration with Stephen as well, hasn't he? And a lot of the books, Abundance, etc., etc.
Correct.
But it's great spending real quality time with these people, because I think you really, if you've got to act like a sponge, you've got to, you've got to soak it all up, and then work out how you can apply it into your life.
Yes.
But even just the peer group from those kind of sessions is quite remarkable.
Yes.
You see, so anytime I see those kind of opportunities to come up, that I jump straight at them, because I think it's the way you can keep developing yourself, keep improving yourself.
Of course.
So I mean, on the books that you did, I mean, I know you've done a couple of books, Epic Life and Epic Business.
Yeah.
What was it kind of like you trying to just like write down the kind of things, the kind of principles and ideals of how people make the most of the time on this planet? Is that the kind of premise of it?
Tremendous. So thank you for asking that, and very grateful. Dr. Diamandis wrote the foreword for Epic Life. He doesn't usually do that, but very grateful for that. So again, I just talk to people like Peter all day, and then connect them to other people like that, or people that want to be like that, and will do what it takes to do the whatever investment it takes to become part of people like that, or be in rooms with people like that. So and then I'm very low in ideation, very low. Excuse me. Most of the people I talk to are very high in ideation, very high. And that's what ADD is, that they're just all over the place, shiny object. So 1 or 2 times a month, 1 or 2 times a month, one of those people will say something truly transformational, and then my brain, I'll immediately know that it's a great idea. I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. I'll write that down. And then when I get enough of those ideas, it becomes a book. Like each one of those ideas it's not even an idea, it's a ritual. And ideas are meaningless to me without doing something about it. So it's rituals that taking the best ones where I don't torch my family, or actually the family's fully involved with both companies. It's collaborative. And then also talk about the rituals that I see from other people, or the habits that have let them or enabled them to destroy their family or never have them. So writing about that too, so people don't do that. So that's how a book takes 2 years to get enough great ideas, because they have to be like the very, very, very best ritual idea. And then I can write a book in like 2 weeks. It just takes years to get them.
The content. Yeah.
Correct.
I mean, because every word counts, every paragraph counts, isn't it? So I suppose it's how do you make the most impact in those. I mean, I think the Epic Life is 146 pages. And it's so it's not going to take you that long to read, but obviously you want to make it dense and very valuable, impactful, and when people put it down, they're in a different place.
Hopefully. So
in terms of your the other thing you're working on, the network. I mean, I know you mentioned you're working with your wife Sarah on that.
Yes.
What's the because obviously there's things like LinkedIn. There's I'm not always going to mention Facebook or anything like that, but there's obviously these platforms that people can leverage, which are sometimes quite impersonal, sometimes quite personal. but quite asynchronous, not really very human, you could say. Or is that what you try to do with your BrEpic Network? Is that the idea behind it? Try and make it really more human, more real.
Oh, wow.
Less hiding behind the technology. Is that the idea behind it?
Well, so one, if it's a SaaS platform, and if you ask me to build a SaaS platform, I'd electrocute myself. I can barely hold a pencil, right? Like I don't even think about this. But my part, I'll slow down first. So my wife and I were in Chicago. My partner is in San Francisco. He does 8 and 9 figure deals all day, and he's an empath, and then he's building a foundation to help with mental health for entrepreneurs.
Okay.
And then he is a backstage visionary, so he found the SaaS platform team and all that stuff. So he built that. And then I just like to talk to and connect with people like us on shows like this, or just one-on-one meetings or in other groups. Yeah. And then I know when someone's a pure visionary, and then I really know when someone's not. Like I've just learned the patterns and the, how they talk or how they communicate or what they say. But and then my wife is a pure integrator with harmony and high achievement and high IQ. High IQ. So it's a really good mix. And then as of this recording, right now, we have, so we'll timestamp it February 8th. We have 53 members all over the world.
Okay.
Most of them are very wealthy. I'd say 15-20% are not, but they will be, because money is energy. That's what Peter Diamandis always says. And you can't do anything without energy. You can't. So, and then they're all genius brain, genius hearts. There's no competition. It's full collaboration. There's no hierarchy. Everyone's coaching. Yes. Cause, and again, I invest well over 6 figures US to be in other rooms. I do not like hierarchy. I like when there's total equality and diversity. Diversity breeds amazing, and I can say our room is
giving. Everybody's giving. They're not
giving to give to the people who get it. Yeah, it's pure collaboration. No narcissists, no business owner stuff. And then the byproduct is massive deals, new companies start, all of that kind of stuff.
Joint ventures, etc.
Joint ventures, yeah. And it's the word I hear more often. And again, most of these people are very wealthy. It doesn't matter the industry. I don't really care about that. But the word I hear more often than any other one is, wow, it's really, quote unquote, refreshing to be here. Yeah.
Because they've obviously been in places before where they've gone all in and it's not quite worked out. Or
there's narcissists. There's a lot of genius brains with not the genius heart. And they're disguising themselves as visionaries, but really they're narcissists just trying to make more money. Which, by the way, it's fine to make more money, but it's as important, if not more important, to actually help people while you're doing it. Yeah.
I mean, that the concept of that. I mean, thanks for sharing that, by the way. So that's really, really interesting. Well, I wish you all the best on that. It sounds like a fantastic environment to be in.
Oh, it's growing very quickly. Yeah, it's going to be very big. Very excited about that.
I mean, what is your assessment? So the final question I've got for you was, what's your assessment of why people develop that kind of imbalance? So where they have the genius IQ, the genius brain, not the genius heart. Is that like an education thing, a parenting thing, a societal thing, all of the above? I don't know.
Great question. So these are the 4 things that separate visionaries from humans, business owners, consultants. There are only 4 things. There are only 4. Everything's a pattern. So here are the 4 things. 1, bankruptcy or potential bankruptcy. 2, depression. 3, highest level of anxiety you can imagine. 4, trauma as a child. So humans, business owners, consultants, those are excuses. Those 4 things are excuses. For a visionary, figure it out. That's fuel. And then So Visionary is the most damaged person with the best coping skills, highest IQ, highest EQ. And the ones with only the high IQ, so I'm glad you asked that, only the high IQ, they use those coping skills to create all this stuff. And then many times torch their family or never have their family in process.
But is that just how they're brought up, or is it something about how they've been taught or led, or is it? Are you saying it's the experiences? So if they've had trauma as a child, or they've been near to bankruptcy, those kind of things. It's the way they
Visionaries are the most damaged people.
The way they deal with those kind of. I suppose you could say what I would call in this episode peaks and valleys. It's the way they deal with the valleys. That's one of kind of what you're saying.
Entrepreneurs, right? Biggest valleys, deepest valleys with best coping skills, ways to climb out of them. And when they're climbing out of them, they bypass their family on the way up the mountain or never have one. The mountaintop is scaling the company, not scaling family or
right.
Or
okay. So not taking people with you along that journey. Yeah. Okay.
Sure, taking people with you, employees, maybe co-founders, maybe investors, but not family, real friendships. So that's where Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, very thought-provoking. I knew it was going to be a good episode. I mean, it's a very thought-provoking topic, and
right.
I mean,
business owners don't talk about this stuff because they don't understand it.
Well, but also, I think the thing is that you talked about the ADD, ADHD, with the kind of the whole piece of the impact of technology on, I noticed with people that I collaborate with, work with, but also with their families as well. It has made that impact. But then I think that people people associate it with a stigma. They kind of like they put labels on it to kind of like deal with it, when actually rather than saying, okay, what's the root cause of it?
It's not a disorder. It's a sign of genius mislabeled by humans. Humans do not understand visionaries. Business owners do not understand visionaries. They do not. Don't understand it. Never will. So label it a disorder. It's not a disorder.
Well, all I can say, Mr. Justin Breen, is thank you very much for coming on this episode, this short episode, but a very impactful and thought-provoking episode. What's the best way of knowing more about the stuff that you are or have delivered or given to the world already? What's the best way of finding that?
Oh, thank you. I'm very grateful for this opportunity. BrepikNetwork.org is the main site. BREPIC network.org.
Okay. And why is it called BrEpic? Is there what's the
BI are the first two letters of last name, and then when I was a journalist, I always used the word epic like constantly. So
okay.
BrEpic Communications, BrEpic Network, Epic Life Book, Epic Business, BrEpic Foundation will be coming, BrEpic Scholarship, BrEpic Youth Baseball Team. It's hilarious. I think it's really fun.
you got the swag all sorted out already. Yeah, good.
Oh yeah, it's hilarious. Yeah, it's really fun.
Well, at least they'll find a path back to you. That's the main thing.
I guess. I mean, I always laugh how companies like the names where they spend like millions of dollars figuring it out. I just like saying Epic. So now there's a whole brand behind it.
I just really usually think of ideas and then check if there's a domain name available.
I love it. Great, good for you.
But the challenge with the G&T sessions, which is obviously about growth and technology with gifted and talented people, which I think is definitely in the sweet spot of what we talked about today, is there's no you can have an ampersand in a domain name, so it's the GT session. So people sometimes think, why is it called the GT session? Is it about gin and tonic? Maybe not. Maybe in the future.
I don't think. Well, it's a gin and tonic. It's a good conversation without the gin and tonic, but maybe you start drinking the gin and tonics during it. I mean, it's late enough in the day where you could pull that off. I don't drink alcohol, so it wouldn't be good at 9:30 in the morning Chicago time to be doing it.
well, I have had a few various different guests talking about gin and tonic and actually drinking gin and tonic actually on the show. Some CEOs actually, but
perfect.
It's not obligatory. It's not obligatory, Justine. So
good, because I'm not doing it.
Well, great. Thanks very much for coming on the show. That's been Justin Breen, who's the founder and CEO of BrEpic Network. and author of multiple books, Epic Life, Epic Business. And check him out. He's a fantastic guy and some really, really big value bombs, as he call it. I think one of the guys calls it in the world. But some really good value to share there in that very short episode. But thank you very much, and have a lovely day, Justin. Thanks
You're
for coming.
welcome. Really appreciate it.